Hello, everyone, and welcome to our TOEFL Writing Question 2 Live for our new TOEFL. Uh, Trying to make everything comfortable so you can attend from everywhere. We're live on Facebook right now. We're live on YouTube right now. We're even live on LinkedIn. So it's really cool, really exciting. And I just want to give about, I would say, 3 minutes just to let our classmates come in. And don't worry, we're going to kick it off. I have a lot that I want to share with you. Super excited. So, once more, hello, everyone. Joseph from NoteFull here. Excited to help you understand the new TOEFL writing question number 2 and how to score high on it. So, I'm going to go ahead get the presentation ready for you. Great lesson. It's going to be about an hour, maybe a little bit more if everything goes smoothly. We'll keep it at an hour, but I'm excited. So, let's go ahead and see how students are coming in. And what I'm going to do now is share my screen here. And so this is what we're going to cover, right? The new TOEFL writing question number 2 with me, Joseph from NoteFull, notefull.com. And just to let you know, we did take the exam on July 26th. What you're learning is exactly what allowed me to score a perfect 30, so you can feel confident and comfortable that these templates work. And I see everyone starting to come in. And as I said, 3 minutes, so we have about 2 minutes left. So, hello, everybody. Thumbs up to you all being here right on time. So, let me say hello to Mobo. Mobo, welcome, Moboland. So, hello to you, right? Dropping in from YouTube. Also, Isra, welcome from Facebook. So, Rola as well, Randeep, Amri Reza, S, Elif, Aisha, also from Facebook. Welcome, welcome. And then we have Liz and Michael. Very cool. Happy to see you, be connected with all of you, and Amir. So, as I said before, don't worry, feel relaxed. I hope you have your scratch paper ready. You're ready to take notes. New TOEFL writing question number 2. Give everybody about 1 more minute. And you see, that's the energy I want to have by the end, that you're really celebrating, you understand how to write well. We're going to practice together, and I'm really excited. All right, so I think that's 3 minutes. Let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. So the first thing I want to do is outline everything that we're going to cover today, so you feel good that we're going to have an efficient, effective training. So, number one, as usual, we're always going to center ourselves for this class and in a unique way for your TOEFL. Because I know for all questions, including question 2, it's stressful, right? And so the new TOEFL is now about 2 hours, so it moves really quickly. So, it's more important to be able to control your stress because it can add up really quick. Number 2, I want to discover the exact help you need, ask you some questions about your previous writing score, your dream score on my new and continuing students, so we kind of understand each other as a group, the level of everyone attending. Then I'm going to teach you something kind of special because I don't want to get right to writing question number 2. That's not going to help you as much. We have to build a new way of thinking how we write so that we can be smooth, fast, and effective for the TOEFL. So I'm going to share with you a unique writing process that directly applies to improving your writing question 2 score. I'm going to share with you the basic template so you can write it down, you could take a screenshot, and you could feel 100% okay. I do that on my TOEFL. I'm guaranteed to score up to a perfect 30. It just depends on my own idea, my own grammar, and word choice. And then number 5, this we may or may not do because this might take a good amount of time, but I really want to, where I give you an example question. So we're going to look at that for sure, but give you some time so that you can answer it and one of you can get feedback and we can all see how to make sure that our essay is improving. And so, of course, for writing question number 2, when I get to the template, it's 10 minutes total. So it's a major part of your score, still considered about 50% of your writing score. So it's like 10 minutes, 2 minutes reading the question, 8 minutes writing. So 8 minutes to determine 50% of our score. This is a really important class. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to share with you, the next steps. So for my continuing and new NoteFull students for the TOEFL, you know how to get more training like this, not only for the writing, but for every section. So everybody ready to come in? I see a lot more hellos, which is awesome. I don't see any little thing from LinkedIn. I think that's a little bit less common for people to see lives, but we'll see at least for the TOEFL. So you can think of that if you're in LinkedIn, you can see that we're also there to help you out too. So let's see who else came in. A beer, Lisa, good morning. Happy that you're here with us. Mahmood, I love it. We got a lot of you on YouTube. Fantastic. Narisha, so many great names, so many great students. Jose, so Isabella as well. Awesome. Everybody ready to come in? Oh, and Rania and Omna. Yes, no, maybe so. Feed me that feedback. You feeling good? You excited to get started? Yes, no, maybe so. And be patient because we're broadcasting on a couple of different channels. I think by the time that you hear my question and then I get your answers, it might take something like, 10, 15 seconds. But I see the yeses coming in. Keep the yeses coming in. Keep them rolling in. I love Jose. Super yes. Very awesome. Very awesome. So, next step, number one, let's center ourselves. So we see our character. Basically, all of you should be familiar with this, Miss Froggo. So for 1 minute, we're just going to do a nice, comfortable training. You see that I'm getting more comfortable here. A nice, comfortable training where we're going to have slow, deep breaths, 6 to 8 seconds in through the nose and out through the mouth. All my students watching, especially when the recording is out, and this is just for you studying, 6 to 8 seconds in through the nose, 6 to 8 seconds out through the mouth, eyes closed, and positive self statements in my head. I'm going to study hard. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pay attention and take notes throughout the class. This way, you set yourself up for success for our class. And this is something to do on your new TOEFL anytime you have some space when the instructions are read out loud. Actually, they weren't read out loud when I took it. So when the instructions appear, right, they're no longer read out loud. You just kind of leave them on the screen. You breathe comfortably. Then you click next. So you kind of center yourself for each section. So 1 minute to do that as a group. Let's center ourselves, deep breathing, eyes closed, positive self talk, starting now. And that is 1 minute. So great to see the new students coming in. Don't worry, Isabella, for those of you that took the exam, still working hard. We're going to get better today. We're going to improve our score. Like Michael, I can do it. It's coming. And Samadan, good to see you too, sir. You said, go to see you, sir. I think probably good, right? Good to see you. So after we've settled ourselves in, it's time for our connection. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, and you can just kind of type these numbers together with a comma, what was your previous TOEFL writing score? If you haven't taken the TOEFL before, you can put 0, easy for me to know. And what is your dream writing score for the TOEFL? So that way I get two numbers and I can see where we are as a group, how much we need to improve, and you can feel good that you're letting me know what you want and how much you need to improve so I can make the class a little more specific to you. So remember, make sure to send me those two numbers. Never took it before zero, or your previous score, and then your future score. So I have a lot of new students, right? Haven't taken the TOEFL. Aisha, Amireza, right? But Aisha, your dream score is a 24. Ooh, look at that, 28. I think that's your dream score, right? Try to give me two numbers. The first one, your previous score, comma, your dream score. So it might be 0, comma 24. Let's see here. So I'm seeing a lot of 24s. Deep, you're very close, right? 21, dream score 22. Abo 21, Nita 24. Abir 21, 24, 25, 21, Dream 24 plus. Very normal. Taking the TOEFL a few times, right? Some sections work, some don't. And we're like at our dream score, but sometimes we get a lower score. So we definitely want to do that better, right? Liz, 0, you want to get a 26. Fantastic, right? A lot of good stuff, right? So everyone here, as you can tell, is wanting a 22 minimum. Most of us are 24, 25 plus, and some of us really top scores for graduate school, 26 to 28. So previous dream score, we have zeros, which means not taken. So don't worry. I'm going to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident with everything. And I see a lot of, I would say, an average of, for this group, like 21. I see 16, so don't worry if it's lower. So we're a pretty good group. Sometimes the average is like 18. So everyone here, you're high level. So it's all about the way you express yourself, the grammar that you use, the development that you have, and we're going to train that. And the average individual wants, I would say, I guess I could say a 25 plus, because we have some 22s, some 24s, some 26 and 28s. So the average is looking for about a 4+ point improvement, which is pretty standard. For those of you who've been to previous Facebook Lives, Instagram, well, not Instagram, we usually do the speaking training on Instagram, but now YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, a lot of times, usually as a group, we need to improve 4 points. So just as a reminder, and so my continuing students know, how much study time does it usually take to improve 4 points, everybody? Text me in the chat. For my students, you should already have this memorized. How many hours of study? And good evening to you, Aruna. Nice rabbit. Is that a rabbit? There we go. There we go. Awesome. Vanessa knows, right? 100. We need about 100 hours, right? Now, Sugam say it depends. True, we're all different, but as a group, as a goal, we want to make sure that we know it's about 100. And that's a really important thing to consider, because sometimes we can under prepare, and that kind of leads to a lot of stress and wasted money in TOEFL. So 100 hours, because 4+ points often requires a significant change in our vocab and our development. So let's go to number 3. This is the big one. So I'm going to take you through a unique writing process so that you can really get your maximum question 2 score. And so I want you to follow this with care. I've done my best to make this simple, but it is complicated. So what does that mean? Simple but complicated. So that means there are several parts to master, right? There are several steps, but each part, each step is simple. So when you learn one thing at a time, it makes sense, because there are so many, can be overwhelming and complicated. So all parts, though, together create something to practice and memorize as a result. Because remember, that's why I said for your 4+ points, I just want to encourage you for 100 hours. So even if you're kind of getting your dream score sometimes and not other times, you just want to think, you don't want to study a few hours. I think ideally for your results, right? 15 years experience working with you, avoiding stress. Just think in 100-hour study times. That's where you can really level up and not take a TOEFL you're not ready for. Waste that money, build that pressure and stress. So I've broken this down into 3 sections. So this is going to be fun. So here's section number 1. I'm eager to share this with you because I think it's going to overcome all of your challenges. So this is how life happens. Everyone has experience with this. There are objects in our world. For example, a table, a classroom, math. I'm using object. Object is usually a physical, concrete thing, but I wanted to make it something relatable. Object, we can all relate with that. But it can be an idea, just something every day in our world. A table, a classroom, math, things that we experience. Give me some nouns, everybody. What are some other everyday things we interact with? Text me in the chat here. Oh, and I'm sorry to hear that here. So let's see. So Narisha, unable to read the sentences on the screen. I apologize for that. Right now, it's showing clarity from where I'm coming from. So I'll try to make it a little bit larger, and it might require you logging off, logging back in, but I hope that helps make it a little easier. Let me try to make it even bigger. Okay. And I'll try to keep doing that throughout the course. And let's see, Mahmoud, is advancing in the previous independent question can help me in this new writing question? Yes. So the previous writing question number 2 is more advanced and more complicated than this one. So if you did well after today, you're going to see how your skills in the old writing question number 2 help you for the current new writing question number 2. Love it. Abo, food, right? It's very simple. Nothing complicated, very normal, very natural, because this is everyday life. Uh, TV, yeah, and now also exams. Totally true. So as a result, we have experiences. We interact, and our experiences are things that we remember, things that are personal, things that are real. So, for example, right now with the table, you can imagine I'm sitting in front of a table, right? You can call it a desk. Let's change that to desk then, just to be a little bit more accurate. So, my experience with the object is that, okay, this one right here is an IKEA desk, have my computer screens on it, doing a uh, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn Live with it, teaching, writing question 2, right? Because the experience is right now. Let me delete IKEA because IKEA is, well, I guess it's where the desk is from, but it can be another experience, right? I have an experience buying the desk. I have several different experiences using the desk. I have different desks I can relate to. So, any object we can sometimes have multiple experiences with, but let's just isolate it and just one experience, right? So, that's the job. We have an object in the world, something that you already have familiarity with: desk, classroom, math, food, exams. Easy. Then you have experiences with it. That just requires memory and comfort and not being overly stressed with remembering everything perfectly or getting everything right or pushing ourselves to make anything up. It's just totally normal. And so that brings up natural vocab. And I can talk about my experience with this desk. You know, Right now, my desk is fully used. I have one monitor on the left, one monitor on the right. I have a, a camera in the middle. I have my laptop in front of me. I have a cup of coffee, a glass of water, and I'm sitting comfortably in my chair in front of the desk. So, luckily, it has just enough space. So, as I use it for what I'm doing now, teaching alive to help my students improve their scores on an English entrance exam, I feel it's really reliable. I don't have to think about it, and it's black and clean, so kind of gives me good energy because I like when things are just simple and clean and easy to use. So that's my experience with the object. So from my experience, what do you think I think about desks? text me in the chat. Send a comment, right? Go ahead, post a comment. You heard my experience. So, what's my generalization like? What do you think this experience leads me to generally think about desks? Let me know in the chat, everybody. I love all the messages that you've sent. The interaction is fantastic. So, everyone text me. It takes a few seconds. But again, what do you think I think about desks in general? What's my general thought? Love it, Isra. Useful. Perfect. Perfect. Let me see here. Now, Thu, be careful because you said it's made from wood. Is that a generalization from my experience? We would say no, right? You're describing it separate from your own personal experience. So that's outside of our process. It's we have an object or thing in everyday life, we have a remembered experience with it, and then that experience informs our general thought about the object. So more like a boat, it is good, right? It is better to have one. Now, same thing with Samya. It makes me able to write on it. Well, you're still thinking about desk disconnected from this process, which is going to hurt your ability to write smoothly and quickly. Because I had the object desk, I immediately brought it to my personal experience, didn't think about anything else. And now I'm asking you from my personal experience, what do you think I generally think about desks? Since this is my experience with it. So, same thing with Priyank. So, you see how I need to bring you into the process. I invite you to review this class. Very big deal to help you. Dasam, it's essential. And I could expand on that, right? It's essential to teach. It's essential to succeed. It's essential when you have work to do. Because my experience was related with that, right? Joy, useful. Rana, good. Desks used for work. I like that. And that brings up a point about generalization because you see what I'm getting at. It's usually has a sense of an opinion because it's a statement from my experience. So I would say they're good for work. So not just desks used, but there's an energy of good, bad, positive, negative when you generalize something. For the most part, at least for the TOEFL. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes, no, made me so. Feed me that feedback. We're clear here. So, generalization about objects, I can make it super simple. Desks are great, right? I can also make it a little bit better and say desks are great for work, but I can make it more general. Feed me that feedback. This clear? Everyone understand this process? Oh, I love it. Look at that. Nice. Nice. I love that strength, right? Lisa gets it. Everybody gets it. I like it mobile and copy, copy, copy. I copy. Excellent. So, section number 2. Now, here's where there's a little bit of complexity. So follow along with me. Remember that improving isn't it's just simple and isn't so easy, or you wouldn't be taking a class, right? You would just feel like I can do it instantly and automatically. But we know there's something to study. We know there's something to learn. And this is what we're doing right now. So academic writing follows a different order. This was the order of everyday life. There's something, we have an experience with it, we make an opinion, a generalization about it. So natural. With academics, it's backwards because what we're doing is we first state our generalization about the object and then our experience as evidence. And this is what creates immense, big difficulties for you and many students because it's awkward. And if you don't know it, it's unnatural. So it's so difficult to sometimes come up with reasons and examples. But if you think about this way, It's like, what are you talking about? It's like the easiest thing in the world for the most part because it's life, every day of your life for however long you've lived. So I'm going to copy these two things here, and I just want you to recognize, actually I'll copy these three and show you where we start to level up and not feel stress or difficulty with this question. When you get a question, what it asks you for is to give us your generalization right away, but you have to go back to your natural process. So the first thing you got to do is just, okay, what am I being asked about? The object. Let me just think about that. Then, second, okay, what's my experience with that object? I'm going to have a few. And then, oh, that is obviously leading me to an opinion, just like I told you about desks. So when you write, this is now the way you're forming your academic paragraph, right? Where object is something that you just individually connect with on your own. And now this looks like an essay where you begin your paragraph with desks are great, and then you give an experience that shows their greatness. Comprehension check. This makes sense. This is pretty cool. Yes, no, maybe so. Normal or awesome? I hope you think this is awesome. But if not, it's okay. Right. Because I want to create that clarity for you. Oh, awesome, Liz. Appreciate you. High five, thumbs up. And Priyank as well. Awesome. Awesome. Love the awesomes. Yeah. Yeah. Keep them coming. Yeah. Sunglasses. Nice. Nice. Oh, amazing. You might just be saying that for me, but that's okay if you are because it feels good. So now it's TOEFL time. Again, breathe. You can do it. If it were easy, if it were just something that you could do automatically, you wouldn't have the desire to take a class. You wouldn't be here with your classmates. It wouldn't be something challenging. So know that it does take review, but I really hope this starts to create clarity. We now enhance this because this is academic. This is for TOEFL writing question number 2. This is the process to get a 30. This is the way we now expand the idea. So we no longer call the object an object, which is really natural. Math class, teachers, it makes sense, right? Because you can think about it. My memories of a teacher, of course, books, all that stuff. But now we call them topics, right? So, but a topic is just an object. So if your topic is about, you know, money, I mean, just think about it as an object in the world. If your topic is about success, you just think about it as an experience, like a reality in the world. You want to be successful, you have a relationship with it. So, any topic on writing question number 2, I promise you, guaranteed, it's just personal and relatable. You just have to think about it in relationship to your life. So, that's the first thing that starts to create a little challenge for students, but no more. The second thing is you're always being asked for an opinion about a topic. Good, bad, helpful, not helpful. Well, this is now what we call our opinion, our thesis, or our answer, right? Every teacher uses different words, it all means the same thing. So that means that we're really being kind of forceful with our language, but you see that we tend to do that anyway. I'm making this, it's just my experience. But when we're academic, especially for the TOEFL, we're saying for the whole world. This is this is what happened to me, but I assume it happens to everybody, so this is a fact. Desks are great. You're forming an opinion. I like this, I don't like it, I agree, I disagree. Now, you provide a reason. So these two things here are, I would say, a little advanced. And what that means is if you go back to the experience, our generalization was that desks are great. And I just gave you my experience right now. I'm using one, it holds my monitors, it allows me to work, it's clean, it's organized, it's spacious, so I have no stress with moving around as I teach students right now how to improve their writing question 2 scores on the TOEFL and English language exams. All good, right? I can say this to anybody. Now, we add something in the middle. So this is where you start to work a little bit because my experience is with work, right? So now I can say desks are great. They help you do your job better. So now I'm from what's natural object in my life, interact with it with an experience, form an opinion. Everyone does that instantly, all day, every day. You do that. Now I'm making it, I'm academizing it. That's a word I made up, right? Like academics, IZE makes it a verb, academizing it. So I'm breaking it down, making a little bit more formal. Desks are great. What's my reason? Well, it relates directly with my experience. They're very helpful when you work. And then I transition right into my experience. So easy and comfortable. You see, we're kind of expanding it. Then here's where, again, there's a little bit of challenge. And I'll tell you later how we can work together. I can make this as I do like a like 3 hour training, 6 hour training, 15-hour training. But just to get a sense of it, there's another step we do when we academize it. We generalize our example. So that means we go from the specifics to the general. I'll give you an example. I talked about how I have my computer monitors, right? I have one on the left, I have one on the right. I told you that I have a camera. They're all being supported by my desk, which is black and wide enough to hold all of this. So I can look back and forth. I have my laptop, I have my notes, so that I can teach my class with comfort. I don't I'm not afraid I'm going to knock something over. And I need these things with me. So if I didn't have this desk, I wouldn't be able to perform well. Where would I be putting my monitor and things like that? Now, when you generalize it, what are monitors? I guess I can call them equipment. And what about what I'm doing right now, teaching? I'm working, I'm interacting with others. So I generalize my specific experience to almost like introduce it before I say it. So, how would that sound? Like, oh, okay, desks are great. They really support you to work effectively. They have the space to put your equipment so that you can do your job without having to move around or feel uncomfortable. And now you just state what's real, your experience. For example, I'm a teacher and I teach English as a foreign language. So every month I teach a free online class on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And last month, this month, today, I have my monitor on the left part of the desk and my other monitor on the right, and they're kind of big, so I need something stable to support them. And there's nothing better than a desk, where I can't use my couch, my sofa, uh, my shelf, my bookshelf, right? It's obvious. And I had my laptop in front of me. And as a result of that, I was able to put everything I needed to teach a class next to me: coffee for energy, glass of water in case I cough, handkerchief. I also have my notes in case something comes into my head. So desks, oh, so that's a summary. So you see how natural that is. Well, I guess it's a bit unnatural or you wouldn't be here. But you see how it sounds very doable, how it is in steps, and it all comes from our everyday experience. And then we conclude. That's why desks are great. So we don't repeat our reason, we don't repeat our generalization, we repeat our basic opinion. Let me do that one more time for you. Desks are great. They support us in our work. They are spacious enough to hold the equipment we need to do our jobs so we don't have to be distracted doing other things. For example, I'm a teacher and I need to teach classes with confidence and comfort online. So I have a nice wide black desk. That's where I put my computer monitors because I need to be able to see more than one screen at a time when I host a live online class. I have my laptop in front of me, and you can imagine that takes a lot of space. So I can't use the floor. I can't use a sofa or a couch. The desk is perfect. I even have my camera so that I can be seen clearly when I teach students. I have coffee, I have notebooks, everything. And I don't have to worry about getting up and moving around because I could put it all on my desk. That's why desks are great. Awesome. Yes, no, maybe so. Is that clear? So you see how we took the everyday experience and we understand that we flip the order and then we analyze and break down and take out the other elements of an academic paragraph, but it's very doable step by step, right? Love it. Love it. You guys are all just trying to make me feel happy and you're succeeding. So it makes sense, right, everybody? Because this is for you, jokes aside, this is for you to produce this so that you can pass your TOEFL. And I promise you, you can. So each of these steps, everyone's always asking for a template, which is important. But I want you to think to yourself that when you memorize this, the template is this. A template is a structure that you can follow. And sometimes to help you, we add phrases, right? In my view, for example, for instance, in some. But the truth is, you don't really need that or to depend on that once you memorize this. So, scrolling down, here's our basic template. You know where it comes from, and you know how to take your everyday experience and put it in this. Your answer. So, first, your answer, which restates the question. For example, if I were to say desks are in our everyday life, do you think they're helpful or not? Then your answer would be, I think the desks that we find in everyday life are helpful. You're just answering, repeating the question. Your reason. It's exactly what we talked about before. It's like doing something from your experience. Like, how does it relate? So, my experience was with a desk and using it for work. My reason was they're really helpful for your job. So, what's your reason? The general explanation. And you see, this is the work because you're building it from your experience. You're generalizing it because my experience was I have my monitor, I have my computer, I have my camera, I have my coffee. I don't have to get up and move around. So, I generalize it. It helps you to place your equipment so that when you work, you're not distracted needing to go pick up other things. And then the specific evidence, which means the evidence is another word for that experience that you lived. It can be a conversation you had with somebody, it can be a movie you watched, a documentary, but it's something that occurred through your body. You know, if you have an idea, it's because of the life you've lived. So everything is related to a real life experience. And then the mini conclusion. You know, that's why desks are great. So this is the fundamental template. Now I'm not giving you phrases because I don't you don't really need any phrases. You don't need a however. On the other hand, you can have them. But I didn't want to concentrate on them too much because this is much more important for you to raise your score 4 points. Because when you flow from sentence to sentence, graders are looking at this. The computer is looking for these elements, and that creates a nice unified paragraph that'll ensure you get a higher score. So comprehension check. High five for being here and attending with so much attention. Does this make sense, everybody? Good, good. Now, Maria, probably we should be a bit worried about the time. I get it. And so, what I would say to you is you do have 10 minutes for this question. I'm going to talk about it when I give you the example. And so, there's some structure. And so, you have 8 minutes to do this. So, stressing about time is normal. And it often comes from having an expectation that I have to produce a certain amount of content, or you may not be ready. So, what you want to do, Maria, is you want to review this and memorize it. Make flashcards. You don't write anything. Just, set a timer for 3 minutes and just talk your way through it, like I did with desk. And just do it with your bookshelf, do it with a window, do it with elementary school, do it with computer, with car. Just get yourself in the habit. It will take a few hours, but once you have it in you internalized, then you won't worry about time because you'll be able to work through it smoothly, and it'll just be a matter of limiting yourself. So to give you I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown here too. So when I go down here, this is our example question. And I'm going to make it small so you're not going to be able to read it. So don't worry about reading it. I'm going to try to make it. Okay. So you see that so let's talk about this for time. So when you look at this is the total, the instructions, this is an example question 2 on the TOEFL. This is a total of about 220 words. We teach you to read at about 160 words per minute. So this is very manageable in 2 minutes because you have 10 minutes total, right? 10 minutes to read and write. So 2 minutes to read and brainstorm naturally in your head, and 8 minutes to type, right? So you have 2 minutes where you're reading through this. And as you're reading, what you're seeing is that the professor is going to give you a little background, kind of a warm up before they get to the specific question, which is always something about an opinion about an object. So, for example, this one is to food has generally become much easier to prepare now. Do you believe this change has improved the way people live? So you get background. Nothing major, just warms you up to the topic, and then you get your direct question that you have to form an opinion on. So this is about food. So you just have experiences with food and preparing food. I think it's a more specific topic, right? Preparing food. So you think about going to restaurants when the food is prepared for you. You think about being in your kitchen, microwaving, preparing food, and then you just have your experience. And then what do you form about that? Do you like being in the kitchen and cooking, or do you hate it? Right? So that forms your opinion and everything that we talked about. So in 2 minutes, you're reading through this. And then you have two example student posts. So this is where now we're getting into writing question number 2. So that's a great question. And you see that these are 50 words, and one student will agree with one side. I agree, I disagree, I like it, I don't like it. And the other student will with the other side. So we're going to read this in a bit, but I want to show you that it has a very simple structure and you have your instructions, right? And because the idea is that you are in a classroom and your professor is giving a question on a message board that he wants students to contribute to. So this is how the TOEFL is trying to be modern and make it a little bit more direct to university and academic life. So you have the first post by the professor who gives general background and the specific question. Then you have one student already post, short, just about 50 words, another student. And the standard pretty much now, I mean, the TOEFL is still very new, but the expectation so far is it's always one student talking about one side and the other student talking about the other side. I like it, I don't like it. And so by the time you read it, your thoughts are coming to you. You've had the object in your head and you have the experiences. So you have your sense of opinion, right? Desks, how I use them. Desks are great. And then because you memorized what we learned, in your 8 minutes, you just start typing. So in your 2 minutes, you can be writing in your scratch paper to organize yourself. And then in your 8 minutes, when you write, how do you break this down? So it's 2 minutes to read and brainstorm. Now you know what you're reading and brainstorm. So read professors post and student posts, always 2. 8 minutes to type, that's this right here. So you want to spend about 1 minute stating your answer, which sounds reasonable. This can vary, but I would say perhaps about 1 minute with your reason. It should come quick and easy. 2 minutes for your general explanation, right? What we talked about, where you take your example and you generalize it, equipment, efficiency. Then you have about 3 minutes. Well, actually, I would say here, yeah, this would be ideal here. And then here, 1 minute for the conclusion. But of course, my thinking is that 1 and 2, like if you save a little time, you can spend a little bit more time on the specific evidence. So 1 minute for your answer, 1 minute for your reason, 2 minutes for your general explanation, 3 minutes for your specific evidence, 1 minute to conclude. And it can vary a little bit. If you finish something early, you can save more time for number 3 and 4. Those are pretty significant. And the word count that you want to have total for your top score is 150 plus words. And so if you divide 8 by 150, you can think to yourself, as long as you're ideally writing at 20 words per minute, which is very manageable. Before, it used to be like 12 to 15 words per minute would be enough to get your dream score on the TOEFL writing. But now you need to type a little bit faster, but not too much faster. So 20 words per minute, that'll help you produce about 160 words, which is enough content to get your perfect score. So I'm happy that you brought that up because I didn't break down time management in my preparation for the class, but that's a great question. So, Maria and everybody, does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. Feed me that feedback. Let me see here. I want to make sure to address all the comments. Anna Costar, no need for a template. Well, it's true in a way, but you can see that this is a template, right? It's just a template that I don't give you the phrases for, but a template is a structure to follow. And because I believe that you as students have a sense of how to move from one to the other. And I have to choose, what am I going to teach you in an hour? I know everybody wants templates, and I hope that was sufficient. And later, I'll give more phrases because I know we love those. But, this is the important part because this is what gets your score. Not really the phrases you use, but that you have this structure. At which time you are taking such classes I've just joined. Don't worry, if you kind of joined in the middle, as soon as our Facebook Live finishes, it's going to be uploaded to our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn so that you can review. Any tips to not forget the structure during the exam when I'm nervous? Yes, Dasam. So there's an expression. It's called the 5 Ps. Want to know the 5 Ps? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. In other words, there is an amount of study where you will move from nervous to a sense of confidence. That's usually means you just make your flashcards, you review this, you pause the video, you look away, you memorize it. 100%, you 30 minutes on it. Tomorrow you do the same thing. You practice just as I said with Maria, and that way even when you're nervous, it's there. You remember Miss Froggo, so before each section you get the instructions read out loud, so you just breathe comfortably, you center yourself, and then you'll be able to perform and do well. I hope that makes sense. Love it, love it, love it. Thu, great, awesome. Mobile Land, high five to you too. Right, a beer and everybody else. So Mahmoud, so what really can lower my score? Well, the first thing is not having this. So not having this process will limit your score because it'll be underdeveloped. So that's number one. Number two, the next thing is grammar. Once you have this mastered, the next thing to work on is grammar, and that's a big deal. And we have training on that, but of course that takes significant time. But after you've memorized structure and then you've memorized grammar, the next thing is word choice. And word choice isn't about using fancy words, but just basic fundamental academic vocabulary that clearly expresses your idea. And so those are the 3 stages of raising your score. But this is the most important. That's why we taught it in this hour. And we do a live class every month, Facebook, YouTube, now LinkedIn, and also Instagram Live every month. So Facebook, we usually concentrate on reading, listening, and writing. Instagram on the speaking. So every month you'll be able to attend, and then I'm going to talk to you soon about the classes we have to keep working so that you can work on those things about grammar and word choice. How can I get a coupon to register for the TOEFL? Any hint? Yes. So there have been a few students who attend workshops and get a discount code for the new TOEFL. I'm going to, whenever I get those, I share those. So as long as you're in our newsletter, like you'll be good. And the way that you register for our newsletter, I'll show you that soon. I think you're already in it. So I gave the TOEFL. So here's the question. If there are two opposing discussions above, and is that okay to take our stand and provide explanation accordingly? Yes, yes. So as you are going to have two posts from students, one supporting one side, the other supporting the other side. I agree says one, I disagree says the other. You just pick your own. Now remember, each of these classes I structure for an hour so I can do them. They're not overwhelming and there's a limit. And so I always teach what I think is most helpful. So you can pause the screen and read this and you get your example and practice the template with it. I wanted to have time for you all to write and then submit, but probably we'll save that for the next Facebook Live where we're actually getting example answers and I'm producing an example paragraph. But my experience was when I share that paragraph and I don't do this teaching, it can feel overwhelming. And a lot of students are like, well, how can I do that? So that'll be the next hour, like the next month. We're going to do question 2 again next month. So this will be on that. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, you pick one side, don't pick both. Some of us may have a sense of, well, it depends, but that creates complexity that we don't want to add because it's already complex enough. So just keep it simple. How many words? We said that 150 plus, right? Here's where we have the time management breakdown and everything. Is 100 words enough? I would say not for your top score. And for writing question number 2, for writing question number 1, you want 250 plus. And ISRA, the time you see on the screen here, I hope that makes sense. So 10 minutes total, and then 2 minutes to read and brainstorm the professor and the students' posts, and then 8 minutes to type. And then every minute is broken down here. And then Abo, what do I do if my grade can't get more than 3 with robotic practice? This, this, I promise you. So on the TOEFL ETS website, they have practice examples where you can submit your paragraph and you get an automated, artificial intelligence score. On your TOEFL, you have one computer rater, one human rater. So the score you get on the website is a pretty good indication of what you'll get on the TOEFL. It's rated a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So that's what it means by, I'm getting 3 ratings. So it's kind of strange, but the TOEFL will evaluate your essay as a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, 5 being perfect. And then average that between your 2 essays, between your grader and robot, robot, like, the computer, and then convert that into a score out of 30. So the most important thing is, Abu and everybody, you need to study 100 hours. You're not going to improve your rating by anything that's going to take 15, 20 minutes. It's always going to be 15, 20 hours, 100 hours. That means you want to memorize this, and that'll have more flow in your sentences, more connection, more structure. You'll build your word count and you'll have the expected structure, and then you'll start to move to a 4. You'll have to double check your grammar and also your word choice to go from a 4 to a 5. So those are the 3 elements that we have to work on. And remember, 100 hours for 4+ point improvement. So we have the mindset. It's not a secret strategy or secret tip at this level, at your level, to improve. It's 50 hours, 100 hours of dedicated work to build your skills so that when you take the exam, you have a completely different essay that will score higher. And there's a lot of students who have that. I go on the practice on the ETS website. Sometimes I score 3, sometimes I score 4. This is really good. If you remember, we had a student who in some exams was scoring 21 and in other exams was scoring 24. Now listen very carefully, stay with me here, because that makes us think, well, it's the question. Some questions are tough, some questions are not. Or maybe it's the grader. From my 15 years experience working with you in tutoring and classes, right? 15 years. I would say that you want to The TOEFL is not perfect. There are a lot of things that I think are agreeable for everyone to agree negative about it, but it's a good consistent evaluator of your level at this stage, the internet-based TOEFL. So if you're between a 3 and a 4, that means your level is between a 3 and a 4. So the solution is always you need another 100 hours of this kind of study so that your paragraphs level up in the development, which you see in the structure, in the word count, which naturally increases when you master this, in your grammar, and in your word choice, which occurs naturally as you study the reading, listening, and speaking, because you're building your grammar, your vocab with those sections as well. So it's basically 100 hours of TOEFL study. And I know that we want a secret tip or strategy, but my experience is it doesn't exist. It's just hard work through study time that is the real thing that's going to give you that result, as long as you're learning what works. Eslam, don't you think we need time to review our writing? Yes. So what happens is that ideally, this is the structure for everybody, what you see here, and it uses your full 8 minutes. But ideally, you're getting comfortable enough that you can do this with 150 words and have a minute or two left. Not 2 minutes, probably just 1 minute to review. And also, as you're writing carefully, because on the exam, it's more about performance, just like the speaking. You don't have time to review your speaking, you don't get to record a second try. It's just one shot, one attempt. So you want to think the writing is great because you can see as you're typing, you can delete. Maybe you have time to review, but you want your perspective to be that I've mastered this so well that with the time given, I can perform. Like I can do well without reviewing my writing so much because my skill is already high. And you finish maybe you're trained to finish 30 seconds a minute early so you can review. And let's see here. Jonathan, I feel that it is easy to write a similar reply like one of the student after reading the student's discussion. True, but you can't do that. If you write 50 words like that, you're going to get like a 1 or 2, which means you'll get like a 12 or 18. So you got to do much better. Their posts are about 50 words. Yours has to be about 150 for your top score. Because if you write 75 words, it's still good, but you might get an 18 to a 20. And since most everyone here wants a 25 plus, that means we need to work towards 150 words. We need to have this development. It's really interesting because the student posts are just content, but they're not what we want to model our answer after. And a lot of students ask, do I need to reference those students? In classes, I teach you that yes, it's good to, but you don't have to for your dream score. You can get a perfect 30 without referencing the student. But I think it's good to always reference the student because it shows connection and it's complex. And again, that would be what I teach if this class were another hour or two. In my example essay that earned the perfect 30, I did reference the student. And it was just a short, like 10 word, like, even though the student says this, I think that. It's just that simple. Hope that makes sense. How many words has to have the answer? 160? Yeah, 150 plus ideally. 160 would be great. Is it important to read all the opinions? Yes, because the two student opinions, you want to avoid them. You don't want to say, like, you're going to agree with one student because they're picking both sides, right? One student agrees, one student disagrees. You have to do the same, agree or disagree. But their support, you don't want to use because then it sounds like you're not developing your own idea and it will, from my experience, negatively impact your score. You see what they say to inspire your thinking, but you stay away from it. So if one student says, I like it because it's healthy, and you like it, give another reason besides health. If a student says, I dislike it because it's inefficient, and you dislike it, give a reason besides inefficient. You need to contribute to the discussion, add something new that was not previously stated. If you repeat content, then it's going to be a sign that maybe you don't know and you're trying to just copy paste a bit, and that will prevent you from getting your top score. I love it, Farid. Review 3, practice 50. That's what we train in every class. If you don't know what that means, I'll tell you soon about how to join our class. So that's the 1 hour. High five, high five, high five. So, everybody, I hope you found this helpful. Now I'm going to transition about how to work with us. I know there are many more questions that I want to address. Let me see if there's any major one. This is a good one. Isan, how can you restate both students' points of view using concession sentence? A concession sentence is like, even though the student says this, I think that. You don't have to restate both. You don't have to restate any. But my training for you to get a 30 is just to connect with one. And it's very simple. When you present your reason, it would be, even though, like, for example, let's say I like something and the student says he dislikes it because it's inefficient. I can say, even though Sam makes a good point about the inefficiency, comma, it really helps you to succeed overall in life. Right? Just like that, even though statement of one student and his or her reason, and that's it. And again, I'll train that in the next live that we do. We'll continue it on writing question number 2. Samia gonna talk about that too, the writing classes we have. And let's see here. Sama, Instagram. So I'll do my best when this is posted on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn to share. But if you go to NoteFull.com, I'm going to make it easy for everybody. Right? You just go to NoteFull. Sorry, I put my picture there. Oh, let me do this here. Give me 1 second here. There we go. I said that. Sorry for that. So you see over here on the website, it might be a little small, but on the upper right corner, you see our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We're not too active on Twitter. It's been a while, but you'll see that's the way to connect so you get all the help you need from us. Really important because we're always sending out PDFs and different things to make sure that you understand how to succeed for my new and continuing students. So stay with me where we talk about, how to work together. I like this one. So remember, it's proper. I'll type it out here since we like it. It's the 5 P's of success. So I'll put it here. And let me share my screen again. There we go. So the 5 P's, I'll share it right here. I'll try to make it big. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. P, 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 P. 5 P's. Really good one. I saw it. For those of you, let me double check. I like connecting with you. For the people watching the recording, at least there's like a little friendship that I hope is occurring as you watch this. How many of you are following us on SoundCloud? Me or not me? That's where I give anywhere from 15 to 30-minute audio lessons that I share for my students in my email newsletter and which is really important, where I give a lot of extra stuff. Me or not me? Who's following us? Heard some things on SoundCloud. Good, good, good. And if not me, it's okay. Just make sure to get into our newsletter so that you can see that. Because in the last one, I referenced a quarterback in a Netflix documentary who was talking about how do you perform under pressure and said some great things. So I guess being in the United States, football is huge here. So I also learned this from watching a video of a football player. How do you make sure that you succeed when you play when it counts? proper preparation prevents poor performance. So that was a good one. And Sama, the newsletter. So let me go ahead and share with you a couple of things. Okay. So, how do we continue to work together? And that's where I'm going to share our newsletter, a PDF of time management, our classes, our self study material. So, let me scroll down here and let me make my little presentation to you. Okay. So, our next steps to work together to conquer your TOEFL. I'm really here to help you and support you to success. I'm like looking at my monitors. So I hope this class really gave you that energy. And I think this is the most important thing with us or anybody. The faster you take the TOEFL seriously and go all in with your studies, and for my continuing students who have already done that, keeping that energy is critical. So Ahmed, who scored an amazing 110, you see those scores overall, says take a course. Of course, with us, but with anybody, just do something to go all in. I wish I started sooner. So every success story interview, every single one for the last many years, I hope it'll change, always has an experience of I learned about the TOEFL. I thought I was good enough, so I took it. I bounced around. I didn't quite get my score. Several months, sometimes years later, because as I say, life happens, there's a point where they finally said, uh-oh, I better go all in. This is going to require my full focus. That at that point, when they joined NoteFull, they went hardcore, right? Studying 12 to 24 hours a week. That's when they knew they started making improvements. And usually from that point, it takes the average student, about 6 to 9 months to pass when they go all in, from that first day. So that's why he says, I wish I started sooner. So the same for you. The other thing that helps with courses is it's all about forcing you to study as well as the training. Have faith in yourself, you will pass. So, for new students who haven't taken the TOEFL, don't be scared or nervous. It just means take it seriously. For continuing students, I hope this encourages you. And so, here's how we can work together. So, number one, to get our newsletter and our free support, if you go to notefull.com and you click on Getting Started, that's the page that I want you all to read because that's always updated every month for all our classes, tutoring, self study material, updates. And you'll see here that we have a YouTube video. I think many of you have seen it, but if not, check it out because I go through the new TOEFL and time management for all 4 sections in about 45 minutes. And then you scroll down here and you can submit your name and email for the PDF of the document that I use that gives you time management for every section, right? Reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And when you do that, you're part of our newsletter. So I get to send you emails with lessons. I get to let you know about our next Facebook Live on writing question number 2. That's my major way of communicating. But as I said too, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, that we're posting regularly to. YouTube is different because it's videos, so you won't really get news about what we're doing. So if you're following us on YouTube, make sure to add Instagram, Facebook, and or the newsletter so you get more free help and different support to pass your TOEFL. The thing that we're having now is our gold course. I hope and think many of you are familiar with it, but let me talk about it a little bit. So Sama, that's where I posted my newsletter. And the SoundCloud, like that's my little podcast. So I always send that to you on the newsletter. But if you'd like to search it on your own, just search SoundCloud, NoteFull, TOEFL, and you'll see this right there. And you'll see I have many posts, right? Lots of great stuff to help you with the different sections. And so again, you just Google, SoundCloud NoteFull TOEFL, but I always send that in my newsletter when I create a new one every few days, every few weeks. I'm a little bit relaxed with SoundCloud with how often I post. But when there's something I really feel we need as a group, I share it that way. So our astonishing August Gold course of online classes is full. It's full. I'm so thrilled. But if you didn't get a chance to register, you can still register for individual sections. So we have a few spaces. You can register for all four sections. Like, we've run out of spaces for the full course. So we always have a few spaces for the individual sections. Right now they're available, so you can register for all four, so you can get the course, or you can register for some individually. So we're starting this Monday, August 7th, on the TOEFL reading, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. New York time. It's okay if you can't see this. I know it might not be so clear, but you can register for these sections individually. So reading, write, listening, speaking, and writing. So you see that we start them, the reading August 7th on Monday, the listening Thursday, August 10th, the speaking Wednesday, August 16th, and the writing August 22nd on Tuesday. They're from 8 to 10 p.m. New York time, Monday through Thursday. You can sign up for all four sections now, or you can sign up for any individually. So you'll see the links to join below the video, like on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. You'll see it. You can also just go to notefull.com, right? If you find that a little difficult to find, and just go to our TOEFL prep section. And then you see our self study material, our online classes. So, again, the Astonishing August is full, but you see this here. Oh, let me remove that. Right? You see the individual classes to register for. Appreciate everybody staying, because I know many leave because we finished the core teaching. But if you're here, it's awesome, because we want to work together, and we will work hard together to succeed. So, in addition to this, it's really important. Many of you might be familiar with, if you're not, you are now. The number one course that we recommend to defeat your TOEFL with is our Diamond course. So that's our self-study material, over 200 hours to train you for every section to get up to a perfect 120. It is being updated. It is not fully updated for the new TOEFL, but it is being updated. So it has the material to get started, and over the coming days and weeks, everything will be modified to match the new TOEFL. And so make sure that if you need help and you want to add this to your classes, or you want to make sure to focus on this if maybe you don't want the classes you want to study by yourself. Remember, we're always here to support you via instant messaging or email. So it's all about you. So feel comfortable that when you study that it works. Any questions or issues come up, let us know and we'll guide you through it. We also have our ultra fast course that's also going to be updated in the coming days and weeks. We work to make this about 16 hours of training so that you get immediate help on all sections. So Diamond course is number one to succeed and pass, and the ultra fast course is just for quick help. And then, of course, we have our free course also being updated in the coming days and weeks. We took our TOEFL on July 26th. I'm going to take it again in a week or two. The standard is that we take it at least 2 or 3 times. You know, the TOEFL has changed a few times over the last 15, 20 years. So we always take the exam 2 to 3 times in a short chunk, so that everything is mastered that we know and everything we teach is precise. That's our standard. And then we take it regularly every few months to make sure that things are going well. That's why we're being a little bit slower with updates. But again, all of this will be there for you to prepare. It already has training material for you to get started. And so, any final questions? So, this is how to work with us. This is how to stay connected with us. 100% dedicated to support you to success. Let's see, any final comments? Let's see here. Appreciate you, Jose. Right. Each video and live you make, they're great and useful. I appreciate you. It's all about you. Acostar, nice. I need to pass TOEFL for the visa screen. So don't worry. If you have that push to work hard, like you got to pass, just 12 to 24 hours of study every week. Join the classes you need. Keep attending, keep reviewing. You're doing great just studying now and staying until the end. So we'll finish in about a minute. And Sama, at the current moment, we don't have a wait list. We're going to release the September Gold course in probably 1 or 2 weeks, but register for the individual classes. There's still space. And Alejandra, just as a reminder to register for, you'll see the links wherever this video is posted, and super easy to help you as well. You simply go to notefull.com, and then when you land on NoteFull, I recommend all new students click on getting started, start there. But if you want to just get to the classes, go to TOEFL Prep, and you see that we have our online classes number 2. Our small group tutoring is also full, so that's not currently available, and you get to check out our self-study material. You also see how to contact us. You can instant message us. But the best thing is TOEFL Prep, online classes, and then join the reading, listening, speaking, or writing to work together. And Farid, you can join, but with through the individual classes for the Astonishing August Gold course. Isabella, thanks a million. You're welcome a million. You're welcome. And thank you for all the kind words coming in. And last one, Samia, you think we can get 24 on writing or it's difficult because of the time? I promise you, Samia, you can get a 30 on the writing. I promise you. It's how we teach. So there are things you can do that we teach that you know you're following and you're learning that provide you with the regular experience with structure, vocab, grammar, typing speed, everything to build you up 2 points, 4 points, all the way to a 30. Just think to yourself, before my next TOEFL, before your first TOEFL, we recommend 40 hours of study. That way you master enough of the TOEFL that you have a sense of understanding of the tips, tricks, everything. So you get the highest score that you can. After your first TOEFL, if you know you need, or if you know you need to improve, we recommend studying 100 hours. That ensures that you level up and you don't over depend on tips and tricks, which are helpful, but they're not going to get you to your dream score alone. Lena, 40 hours per week. Study 12 to 24 hours per week. That's enough review that you're building memory and improving each week. When you study below 12 hours, it tends to limit your progress. And 6 hours per week is to keep your score the same. If you study 0 hours per week, you'll see your score kind of return back to where you started. It'll start to get a bit worse. So 6 hours is the minimum to keep your score. 12 plus hours is the minimum to start improving. And 24 plus hours a week is where you see that you're making really good progress every week in your studies. So, with that said, everybody, it was a pleasure. Great, excuse me, live. An hour of solid teaching. I feel like we answered all your questions. As I said, this is going to be uploaded to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You know how to reach out to us on those channels, our email newsletter, our upcoming classes, our self study material, all to support you to success. You will pass, you can pass. So until next time, hope to see you in class on Monday. Come, come, come. Let's work together to succeed. Bye bye, everybody. Good job. Good job. Until next time, have a great day to you, Ahmad, and everyone else. NoteFull out.